I started early retirement from Fairfax County's park system to help Ann and Todd, the owners, open this store. And I've been here with them for almost 4 years now that we've opened a store in the town center. I've been racing bicycles since 1987 in some form or another. Probably done over 100 triathlons. At the end of my career, I was racing predominantly mountain bikes, sponsored by Specialized and Nantucket Nectar's, the Juice Guys, till I had a catastrophic leg injury. So now this leg has been completely reconstructed, and that kind of ended my racing days. So I've got a lot of experience. Please ask questions. We've all been at the newbie stage before, so I highly encourage people to ask questions. We do a lot of work with Team Z, which is a very similar group to what you guys are bringing to the table, and they've been a great group for us to work with. The first thing I was asked to kind of give you guys a little bit of a talk about was the difference between a road bike and a tri-bike. Looking at the potential for a purchase before you do your triathlon, this is what a conventional road bike looks like. And I find if I'm making a single bike purchase, probably the road bike to be my best bet. The reason is it's a little bit more versatile than a tri-bike. Some group rides, like if you do Tour de Cure or some of those, they won't even allow a tri-bike in those rides. Because in a group situation, as we're riding on our road bike, all of our controls are right here at our hands. The brakes, the shifters, everything is right here. So as I'm riding, it's very quick for me to be able to react. On my tri-bike, as I'm riding, I'm here in the aero bars. So that if something happens right in front of me, I have to come up, grab the brakes, and my reaction time becomes not nearly as quick as it would be on a road bike where all the controls are right at my fingertips. I also find that the road bike is a better climbing bike. One of my good friends did Savage Man, and he has a Cervelo, and he just found it really difficult to make that climb. He bought one of the carbon road bikes behind me for that particular event. Where a triathlon bike really excels is when you get out on these long, like in a triathlon, where you get out on these long, somewhat flat roads. You got a nice long stretch in front of you. You can get down into a very aerodynamic position. It breaks the wind a lot better, and it's much faster. In many triathlons that I have done, I'll get out on a flat section, and you'll come through a hilly section. You'll be fighting with this guy. As soon as you hit the flat road, boom, away you go. So, but I don't find it as versatile. Again, I did a group ride last weekend through the Bay Country ride on the Chesapeake Bay, and I took my road bike. It's much more comfortable, much more versatile, and very controllable around a large group of people. So, any questions on the difference between the two bikes, why I would choose one over the other, making my purchase? All right. Probably the most important thing about the purchase of a bike, and even after you've purchased the bike, is the fit of the bike. You can have a lower quality bike with a good fit and have a much better riding experience than a high quality bike and a poor fit. Make sure that when you purchase a bike, or even if you own a bike now and you're going for a long ride, make sure that you spend the money to get a good fit. Now, we do that free with the purchase of a new bike from us. We also do it as a service. There's 4 of us guys here that are certified. I'm certified at the highest level. One of the fit schools I went to was $1,000 a day, was 2 days long, had 75 people in it, and it filled in 2 hours. It was such a high level class. I sat there for the day with I love bikes. So I sat there through the day going, like that. It was fantastic. One of the presenters was from the University of Virginia. He was doing his postdoctorate work on the human propulsion of a bicycle. And the stuff, the graphs, the charts, the things that he taught us was just absolutely amazing. So I want to go over, Todd and I set this bike up. I want to go over just some of the fundamentals of what a good fit is and what you should be looking at when you have your bike and why this part of the fit is really critical. So Todd, I'm going to get you to jump up.
Yeah.
Good role model.
What we would have done before this point was we would have checked Todd's standover height on the bike. And the standover height is when he just throws the leg over the bike and how much room we have when we stand over top of it. What we look for is about a ½ inch to a 1 inch standover height. But this, in a lot of shops that you go into, that's how they sell the bike. But you can stand over it, away you go. But that's such a small part of the correct bike fit. The most critical thing we look for is the balance of the contact points on the bike. Your hands, the seat, leg extension, those kinds of things are absolutely critical. So go ahead and jump up there. And the first thing that I would look for is his heel drop. With this pedal, with this crank arm in line with the seat tube, because that's the longest point of the bike, when he locks his knee out, his heel drops about 2 centimeters. Why that's important is because if we have the seat too low on our bike, that as we go to pedal, our joints don't run in just a single plane. So as we try to pedal, we get this. And that's horrible on our knees, our ankles, and our hips. So what we try to do is have the seat as high as we can. Not only does it save our joints, but that's where we are at our most powerful position. And that 2 centimeter of heel drop lets me know that he's not going to hyperextend his knee. That's my safety zone. When he locks out and that heel drops, that means his leg is not fully extended. So that's critical. And we didn't dial it in perfectly because typically we would have cleats and pedals and all that kind of stuff on it. The next test that we do, and probably one of the most critical ones, and it is different for a tri-bike. You guys that have triathlon bikes, it's a whole different fit. We just sent 2 guys to Slow Twitch out on the West Coast to be fit certified, and so they've got the latest in tri-fit. But the same principles apply. And I'll show you, this one's being the most critical, with the 2 pedals being exactly opposite each other and his foot being flat. What I look for, and everybody, you probably can't see this, but is the plumb drop. There's right below the knee, there's a little dent right here. And right at that point, I run this plumb drop, and the plumb drop should be exactly over the center of the pedal shaft. And you can see that it is. The reason that that is important is because this is the power phase of the pedal stroke. This is the recovery phase of the pedal stroke. The way that we adjust that is that we move the seat forward, we get more power. We move the seat backwards, we get more recovery. So Todd say, slide that seat forward, give me all the power you can give me. Well, it doesn't work that way. As the right leg is in the power phase, and it's a little confusing, so I hope I explain it right. As the right leg is in the power phase, it's making this perfect little semicircle. The left leg has to be equally in recovery phase. Or as you go to pedal, this leg can't come up. So you're fighting your own self. So that the power that you are producing is lost in this fight against the other leg. So that's why this plumb drop becomes probably the most critical part of a bike fit from a power standpoint. The next thing we look for, once we get this lower platform set, which we are now, then we look at these kinds of things. What's his angle of his arm and torso? And I like to see about a 5-degree bend in the elbow. The reason that that's important is as we're riding, we all do this, we lock our elbows out. We're riding down, I guess we're going to think we're going to hit a hole or something. But the action of doing that causes you to activate the forearm, the tricep, the deltoids, all the way up through the neck. Just standing here, locking our elbow out does that. As soon as we flex that, everything just kind of, So I want a 5-degree bend in the elbow, and I want 90 degrees from my torso to my arm. And he's right now at about 91. So we've got to give or take 3 degrees on either side. What we're doing by doing that is now we're balancing his contact points. We have his weight of his torso pretty evenly distributed across the frame of the bike. We have minimal pressure on his hands, and the weight distribution between what's on his hands and what's on his seat is evenly spread. So you don't have you don't have a lot of pressure at any one point. One of the things that we have seen is a lot of people think that they want to ride high. They want to ride upright when they ride. They think that that's more comfortable. But truly what happens is you change your pelvic relationship to the bike, and it really puts a lot of stress on your lower back. So what we depend upon is, once we get this balance, is for us to have some core strength that we depend on to kind of hold us in that balanced position. And also look at how nice and straight and flat his back is. We also do this when we go to ride. We go, as we go to get on our bike. And what happens is that we compress our vertebrae on the front side and elongate the vertebrae on the back side, and we put our back into a real stressful point. So that is probably the most critical part of your bike experience that you can have, is to make sure that you have a good bike fit. And that was a good one. You're done.
Let's get down.
Yes. You don't get to take the bike home with you either.
Doesn't match your outfit anyway, so.
A couple other things to mention on the bike fit. The cleat placement probably becomes another one that's really critical. Your foot looks, this is your big toe, and these are other toes. As they come together, they all join under the ball of the foot. And that's where we say to put the cleat. Well, this one, the big toe comes in, these guys come in, and they actually join as one. These two come in and they join as one. And it's right underneath the ball of the foot. The only reason I'm mentioning this is that sometimes as you guys are riding, you may experience a burning in your foot. Again, that University of Virginia guy, he was so awesome. He showed us power curves of, if we take the cleat and slide it forward to get rid of that burn. And that's forward of the ball of the foot. The best way to find that is where the widest part of your shoe is. So if we slide the cleat forward, the power curve falls off like crazy. You